Well, our next panel hit it out of the park at our last event, and we are honored to have them back for Pay It Forward. It's the Women in the Service Lane panel, and it's moderated by Lori Halter. Lori, welcome back.
Thank you so much. I'm thrilled to be here with these ladies. They have so much to share.
They do, and man, it was really great last time. They got such a great reception and great feedback, and I'm excited about what you all have to share today. And so, Lori, the show is yours.
Perfect. No pressure, right, girls? So yes, as Jean said, this is the leadership in the service lane panel, or actually I shouldn't say service because we have parts on this time too. So leadership in fixed ops. Before we get started, I was hoping each of you could introduce yourself and who you're with. So let's start with you, Cindy.
Thank you. Cindy Lentz. I am with Germain Toyota of Naples. I am a parts service and body shop director or a fixed ops director.
Great. Elizabeth?
My name is Elizabeth Martin. I am the service BDC manager for the Scott Clark Auto Group in Matthews and Charlotte area, North Carolina.
Perfect. Thanks for joining us. Amanda?
Hi, I'm Amanda Mitchell. I'm with Mercedes-Benz of Bernie under the Group 1 Automotive Corporation, and I'm the service manager.
Wonderful. And last but not least, Kaylee.
Hi, yeah, I'm the sales and marketing manager here at Parts Edge. We're based out of San Diego, but I'm actually in Arizona.
Well, we are so thrilled to have you on again. And as Jean said, you guys just had the best reception last time. Everyone loved what you had to say. So we are back for round 2. This time we thought we'd talk about leadership. And a big shout out to Roger Conant, who is Women in the Service Lane. He shared with me some really interesting information about the ratio of women in different departments. And I just wanted to give a quick info on this before we started in with our first question. What we're seeing, especially in fixed ops, is trouble getting women to kind of what we call the finish line, right? For in leadership positions. So some interesting ratios. Service advisors are the top, actually, with 19% of females. But by the time you get down to the parts manager and the service manager, we're at 6% of females, and sales managers were at 5%. Parts technicians are 1%. So we thought a great thing today, and you guys all being wonderful guests could answer for us, is how do we create more leadership paths for females in the fixed ops department? With that in mind, I want to first ask, does anyone know, or are they themselves a female that's made a growth path throughout fixed ops? Or do you know of someone who's created leadership in fixed ops? And Elizabeth, let's start with you with that question.
So as far as a female service advisor or parts employee, I don't know anyone personally that's made into a leadership role or management position. I have heard of other ladies being in that role, but really the only female that I've known that's been into a management position in automotive is Sarah Valentine, and that's part of Fixed Ops. So she's really the only person that I know of personally.
Yes, yeah, and then she got taken out of the dealership. She's now with the vendor. Well, Cindy, I know personally you have had a leadership role, and I know that you really believe in then helping women promote from within. So what would you say about this question?
So yes, my leadership role started as a part-time title clerk 30 years ago. And I remember Mr. Germain coming to me about 6 months in and asked me, do you want to write service? And I was like, sure. And then I found what I really, truly loved. And from there, I visited the parts department. I worked in sales, went into management, and went into directorship from there. But I also have a protege who followed a similar path. She was a cashier for me when she was in high school.
Wow.
And she finished college with an education degree. And she is the service manager at a store right now.
That is fantastic. And just you personally with this story, do you have, the goals of becoming a general manager, or what are your overall goals for leadership within the group?
Absolutely. That is my next step.
I love it.
It ain't over yet.
Okay, well, we'll be watching and cheering from the sidelines.
Thank you.
Kaylee, what about you? I know you have a really unique position in this panel because you deal with a lot of parts managers. Have you run into female parts managers, or how is it looking on that end?
Yeah, I don't run into them very often. Recently, though, I ran into one that is in charge of a very large operation in Phoenix. And she's actually the president of the Mopar Masters Guild, which is super impressive. I think she's the first female. So very rare, but it does happen.
Yeah. Okay. I hear another guest, a future guest as well for this panel.
Yeah,
We'll have
I
to
should
invite
invite
her
her.
out. And then Amanda, we'll end with you. Have you found that there's leaders? Have you found leadership roles for women are you currently on the path to that?
So I feel like I'm currently on the path to that. I started as a receptionist at a dealer in Houston and then kind of worked my way up. I was a cashier, I was an express advisor, an advisor, warranty admin. So I've kind of worked my way through, and my end goal is possibly GM, but I would be happy as a service director. And I've found it very easy to move up with the current management that I have now. They're very supportive of it. But I do also know of other females, and my mentor and best friend actually did the same thing. She started on the service drive as a porter, moved up as an advisor, and then now she's the director at another one of our stores under Group 1. And our assistant parts manager, she started on the drive as well and moved up. So I think it's just getting the word out there that it's a good job, it's fun, we're on our way up.
I love it. And that actually perfectly transitions into my next question. And I think I'll start first with Cindy and then go to Amanda again. It's really, how do we create leadership paths for women? So what specific tactics can dealership management take to ensure? What I think is interesting is you both started in like a lower sales position and moved your way up. How can we do that for the women coming behind? Cindy, let's start with you.
So opening leadership path to women in the fixed operations department starts with women like ourselves. We need to be career champions. Yeah. It starts with us as leadership roles and showing them how to proactively manage their career, being an inner circle with whom they can communicate frequently about the automotive industry, in the automotive industry, give them guidance and advice. This group, can be a circle of female mentors and confidants.
Yes, I love that. I speak with a lot of women in a lot of different roles across the dealership and the dealership channels. And number one is mentors, female mentors. That's the number one thing that women are looking for when they're following a leadership path. Amanda, what would you add to that?
I think it's getting the word out there, recruiting, letting people know that there are these positions. I mean, like Cindy said, she had a high school student as one of her cashiers. It's finding where they want to go and then helping them to create that path, to see if, to motivate them and move them through. It's going to start with them just being open. That's kind of what I did with my managers, is letting them know, hey, this is my goal. I'm ambitious. I want to go to the top, and just pushing through and finding all the answers to get there.
Yes, I love this, and I've heard that as well. A lot of people say the key, if you're a female employee, is going for the job you want and then doing things outside of your current role to ensure that you're showing them that this is who I can be in this organization. Very great feedback. Kaylee, what would you add to that?
I agree with everyone. I think just communication, understanding what's available to them, and then taking note of those certain employees that go above and beyond, because those are the ones that are wanting to do more and wanting to grow. So
I love it. And Elizabeth, you've moved up yourself. I know that you've moved up positions. And Sarah was your mentor. So what would you say about this?
I mean, I agree with everyone here. Having a mentor, a female mentor, is really important, because me, I had zero automotive experience when I came into this role, and I had no intention of actually staying, because I didn't really see any female employees in the service department or anywhere in the dealership, unless they were in accounting or something. And seeing somebody like Sarah just made me really change my entire career path. I'm like, wow, this is a female in the service automotive industry. If she can do it, I can do it. And yes. I would say if I didn't have a mentor, I probably wouldn't have stuck around as long as I did, because, I've wanted to be a manager, and I've told her that I wanted to be a manager, and I had interest in growing, and she listened to me. She gave me a lot of opportunities. She helped me. She delegated some responsibility. She would tell me what I need to improve on, and communication style, things of that. But it's super important to have a mentor. And if you have an employee that shows interest in wanting to move up to a higher position, you should take them up on that. Like, you shouldn't shut them down. Give them the opportunity to show you what they can really do.
Well, and I think it's really important. Those are all 100%. And I think it's really important. I've spoken with a lot of men who are very interested in helping females now rise up the ranks. Like Jeff Daniel is one example of someone who just really is a big advocate of that. So we've talked about what you can do as the employee, looking for outside opportunities. Let's move a little bit to if you are a manager right now and you see promise in some of the women that are any employees really, but because we're speaking about women, if you see promise in some of the women, what could these dealerships management teams be doing to really help pave the way specifically? Amanda, let's start with you.
Going out and recruiting more. I mean, we do it for technicians. Why not do it for the support roles or the advisor roles? Going to colleges and during their career weeks. It's a career. It's a great opportunity. There's a lot of growth in it. So why aren't we getting out there and letting people know this is what we have to offer and just recruiting?
Yes, I think recruiting is big. And, this is another one that as we talk, women are saying, most of the women I meet in automotive are like, we had no idea we were going into automotive. Well, a recruiter reached out to me and just said, there's a great opportunity. And they said they would not have done it had they known it's automotive. Kaylee, I know you have a story about this personally, about finding talent in unusual places. Do you want to share your personal story with us?
Yeah, I was a manager at a Subway restaurant, and my bosses at Parts Edge were my regular customers, and they saw something in me and presented an opportunity. And like most people, I was fresh out of high school, going into college and kind of not sure what I wanted to do. So I think that we can find unusual places. We can find people, especially if you're a regular customer, a Starbucks, a Subway, because the work ethics in those environments are really, really good. So
I love that. And I think it's really about leadership quality. Like you're a perfect example of, you can find leadership qualities anywhere. So don't just keep it to the folks in your store or your hiring process. If you see someone out there who's doing a great job at the Starbucks, talk to them about the opportunities you have, especially right now with the technician and labor shortage. I think it's important to, if you see anyone that's doing a great job, talk to them.
Yeah. And they also said what they learned was to ask who the person knows that is looking for a job. Don't directly ask the person if they're looking, ask who they know. At the time it went over my head. I was like, who do I know? And I was like, oh wait, me.
That's great.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, what would you add to this discussion?
So to add on to what Amanda said, definitely recruit. Definitely show that there are other women in the automotive industry. I think it's really important if we go out there and show that there are other women in the automotive industry. Maybe more women want to join. Maybe they want to be a part of it. It's just super important that we just show, because I personally would not want to work in an industry where there's no one like myself. I wouldn't be comfortable in that kind of environment. If it was just the same gender, like everyone's all male, I might not feel comfortable. I might not feel like I might be able to fit.
Yep. And I think that's a very good point, even like from a customer perspective, right? When they're coming in and they only see one type of person across the board, they're not going to be comfortable to go, more than likely, they won't be comfortable to go up to that person.
Exactly.
It's really important to have a variety of genders, nationalities. I think as an industry, we're really moving toward this. Cindy, you're nodding your head. Tell me what you think, girl.
I would say show them career success by demonstrating care and interest in their goals. So understanding what their goals are. We have to care about their life-work balance. We have to set expectations and acknowledge those when they're achieved or exceeded, and allow them to be creative and to contribute, and recognizing the strengths and leveraging that for their success. So, I whether it's a female, male, or any type of diversity, this is what every employee needs.
Yes, I love that. And I'm going to put one of you or many of you on the spot because I'm going to ask a question that I did not prepare you for. But work-life balance is such a big deal. So this is becoming a huge thing, especially for women who, especially after the last year and a half, when we've been home with a lot of kids who have been educating themselves at home. Let's see. Which one of you jump in? What do you think in terms of work-life balance? Like, how can we as an industry help move this idea forward?
So I think scheduling needs to become more creative. Insisting upon reasonable amount of hours in a workday must be found in this industry.
Yes.
Scheduling a lunch must be found in this industry. I learned a lot during the pandemic that people need to take care of themselves and their family first in order to do a good job for us. So letting them have the day off if someone is ill and not being like, when are you going to come back to work? But rather, is everyone okay?
Yes.
Are you okay to come back to work? I think that's some of the life-work balance that we need to learn.
Well, and I love what you're speaking about is really caring individually for each person, right? Not the job or what they bring to the position, but the person. What are they going through? How can we help them with some of these things? So I love that. Does anyone have anything to add about, work-life balance ideas for some of the audience out there?
I know.
Okay, Elizabeth, let's go to you and then we'll go to Amanda.
So I think it's really important to have a work-life balance, just like Cindy added on. We all have family that we have to take care of. We all, some of us may have children. And I think it's very important that we are flexible with them because, sometimes things come up, like our child may be sick, and we have no one to watch them, we have to stay home. We as a manager need to be understanding, ask them, are you okay? Is your child okay? What can I do to help? And we also don't want to make them feel bad for having to call out of work because,
Right.
Family comes first.
Yes, I love that. Amanda, what would you like to add?
Well, what we've kind of done is we have, mainly for the advisors, we have them on a partnership. So they have a partner. So when they're out, they don't have to worry as much. They have someone there that's going to check on their clients for them. They have someone there that can check in with them and help them out. As for technicians, we have a 4-day work week schedule. We've done it a couple of different ways to try to find the best balance for them. But it seems to be working. They get more time off to be with their families, and then they come back refreshed and ready to do a great job.
Well, and I love the partner idea because this is not just black or white. That's a perfect example of a way that we can still take care of our customers, but give our employees some flexibility.
Exactly.
Kaylee, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, what Cindy was saying about the flexibility or just allowing people to have control over their schedules. I know that's something I appreciate in my role is I have complete control. I mean, sometimes meetings get scheduled and I have to do them, but just having complete control over my schedule and the flexibility allows me to be a better mom and have a better life. So I think that's so important.
Yeah. All right, guys, if you have not heard loud and clear, what we're saying is flexible schedules. We're going to skip to a different subject for a minute because while you all are female leaders, you are also leaders in your organization. And one of the things that we're seeing, especially during the chip shortage, has been the importance of the fixed ops department. We've known this all along, but now we're seeing that people are almost like putting them up to sales and saying who should really be front of the house. So I'd love to get all of your takes on this. Elizabeth, let's start with you. What do you think about fixed ops starring role right now in the success of the dealership?
Well, like you said, with the supply and demand when it comes to cars, the inventory is super limited right now, and that could go on for a long time. So I think service has a great opportunity to bring in more revenue because now that we're seeing more and more customers are starting to drive the car more instead of flying due to COVID, which means the common things like oil change, brakes, things like that are starting to be consumed faster, so they're having to come in for service sooner than later. And not only that, with lack of cars being available for purchase, people are holding on to older cars even longer, which means they need more repair, more maintenance, which does cost a little bit more money, unfortunately. But basically, we have the opportunity to provide excellent customer service experience. When we show customers we care about them, we value them, they might be more likely to spend a little bit more money with us. Because personally, I'm someone that likes to save money, but if I feel like I'm getting really good customer service and I'm really being taken care of and I'm getting my money's worth, I'm more inclined to spend a little bit more money.
Yeah.
And for example, I read one article, if a customer feels like they are well taken care of and after 5 service visits at the dealership, they are 3 times more likely to purchase a vehicle within that dealership in the future.
Wow. Yeah, I think it's absolutely key. Cindy, what would you like to add to this?
So the service department being the center of success, I think, is what we're talking about. And the new economics of the service is the frontline workers, and the customers, of course. They need to be the center of management concern. We need to pay attention to the factors that drive profitability by investing in the people, technology that supports them, revamp our recruiting and training practices. Compensation should be linked to performances at employees through every level. We need to manage and measure their success, not only their success, but the employee satisfaction, the productivity, the services that we provide. Profitability is stimulated by customer loyalty. And the value created by a satisfied, loyal customer comes from productive employees. I'd say it's at the employee level.
Okay, does anyone else think Cindy should run for president? I love what you're saying, and I agree 100%. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it. It's worth it for our industry as a whole. Amanda, what would you have to say to the Fixed Ops becoming kind of the success center of the dealership?
I agree 100% with both Cindy and Elizabeth. It's cheaper to keep a existing customer than to lose them to another dealership. It's cheaper to keep an employee when they're happy. It's easier. And if your employee's happy, your customer's going to be happy. That's why CSI is such a driving factor. I know Mercedes on our side, they kind of did away with they're not monitoring the CSI as much, but that we are, because what's the best thing for our customers is, our employees being taken care of, and vice versa.
I love that. Kaylee, what would you like to add to this?
I always talk about giving the support and the tools to your managers and your team. So with service, there's parts, and I know we're short-handed on people too. So giving them the tools to be more efficient with the operation and really support them, I think the morale can to show with how they treat the customers. So yeah, it's so important. I agree with everyone.
Yeah, I think it is. We're moving into a great stage of our industry where I think people are seeing more and more the importance of fixed ops. And as all of you said, treating people in a way that will ensure they come back, to where you're not just getting a one-time customer, you're getting that customer over the life of their vehicle. So I'd like to end this with a quick lightning round for each of you. If you had one piece of advice for the women coming up through the service department or parts department or fixed ops in general, what would it be for them to create a leadership path? Cindy, we'll start with you.
Well, you kind of caught me off guard there. So if I was meeting you for the first time, what I would say to you is welcome. And in a month, I'm going to ask you where you want to be in the dealership, what interests you. And then from there, I would provide you with, the opportunity to get there by giving you support, by showing you how to do it. I would also recommend something that you mentioned earlier: do more work than is asked.
Yes, I love that. Elizabeth, what would you share?
I would say find a mentor, find a female mentor, whether it's within the dealership or network. You can network with other women in the automotive industry. Ask them what they did to get where they are now. Ask them if they can provide any guidance to help you continue to grow.
I love that. And we're entering, I feel like, a really strong stage right now with women across the board in automotive. So there are plenty of people to seek out and find in that role. Kaylee, what would you share with the group?
I would say take risks, go for it. Even if you don't know exactly how to do it, just try, because that's all you can do, and you'll figure it out.
And I think, as we've been saying all along, the risk takers, right? If management sees you taking risks and really raising your hand and saying, I would like to take this next step, that will be noticed and it will be rewarded. And Amanda, we'll close it out with you. What would you say to female leaders coming through the ranks?
I'm going to elaborate a little bit on what Cindy said, and kind of like what I said last time, is just always be the hardest working person in the room. Be vocal about your goals and let your managers know, hey, this is what I want to do. Can you show me? That's the biggest thing, is can you show me? Be active in your learning experience and you'll continue to go far.
I mean, Jean, aren't these women amazing? Of course
They
they're
are
leaders in their
amazing.
field.
No, they are amazing. I mean, I had the privilege, and it's really sad that this hasn't continued, but I had the privilege in retail of working for the Campbell Automotive Group, and fully 50% of all the leadership were women. This was in the mid 1990s. So I was really blessed to have that experience.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was just normal. But what were those statistics again that you started out with? What is the percentage?
So the largest percentage of females is in the service role, and that's at 19. Our top is 19%. Yeah. By the time you get down to service and parts, it's 6%, and general manager females are 5%. And that's not even looking at folks who have come up through the dealership to reach that general manager. That's just across the board stats.
Yeah, and we need to do a lot better than that.
Yes, we do.
Because, I mean, look at this group. We have so many amazing women who are out there already leading, and we need to encourage more to come along. So thank you so much, all of you, for what you're doing. And again, as you mentioned earlier, Lori, thank you to Roger Conant for encouraging this more and more in everything that he does. I want to thank Elizabeth Martin and Kaylee Felio, Amanda Mitchell, and Cindy Lentz. Thank you all so much for being here again at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. And of course, Lori Halter of Charisma Communications, thank you so much for moderating.
Thank you.
All right, stay tuned, everybody. More of the Fixed Ops Roundtable, Pay It Forward, is coming up next.